Tolleson-Mack podcast. This guy to my left needs no introduction, Mr. Fred Whitfield. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How's it going?
Good, good. We got my man Benny on here.
What's happening?
Brandon decided to sit this one out so Benny could get on here. Caesar,
What's up? How's everybody
doing
going?
good, doing good.
All right.
Fred, how's it going out here in Vegas, buddy?
Man, it's going good. I've had a blast this week. I've been helping Chad Mayfield since I guess about the middle of August, and uh, hopped on a plane and flew out here on the 6th of December, and been here ever since. And it's been fun.
Yeah,
It really has.
yeah. Could you kind of walk the listeners down? I mean, maybe just a little highlight reel of what all you've done. I mean, we only got an hour. So,
Well,
but if you could kind of walk them down. I mean, I know personally, I've watched, and me and Brandon laugh about it, and Caesar, where we watched the NFR, where like it didn't start till like 10 o'clock at night on TV.
yes,
And then
sir.
you guys were in the calf roping, so man, I was getting my ass chewed out by my mom and dad because I was still up at midnight, trying to watch you guys.
Well,
rope
yeah, it
calves.
was it was about 12:45 to be
Yeah.
exact when it come on in
Right.
Texas,
Mhm.
and so just to start out and give you a brief kind of rundown of my career. And so my rookie year was actually in 1990, and I won the rookie of the year. And then I come back the next year, which would have been 91, and I won my first world championship then. Skipped a couple of years, had some horse problems, this, that, and the other. Won it again in 95 and won it again in 96. And then 97, had a couple little horse issues and ended up borrowing a horse that I ended up riding out here for a lot of years called Reno. Come from Kenna Boltinghouse, and had Tom Epperson helping me at the time. And so I set the average record, which I held it prior to that was 91.7. Broke it in 1997.
Broke your own record.
Yes, sir, at 84 flat on 10 head. Come back 98. This guy from Wallace, Texas showed up on the scene called Cody Old, and we had a pretty good rivalry there in 98, and he ended up winning the world, or 97, just by a little bit. And then he won it again in 98, and then I won actually the all around in 1999 and the calf roping as well. And for me, that's probably one of my greatest accomplishments was to win the all around, because I had to go through the king at the time, which was Ty Murray,
Hmm.
and Joe Beaver was also in the hunt for it. And so, um, other than the birth of my kids, that's probably the the greatest accomplishment in my life that I feel like, for as far as achievements go. Um,
I hear a lot of them guys say that that all around buckle means so much to them because it says all around cowboy on it. It's the only one.
I got it on, and
Yeah.
I mean, I wear it all the time, especially out here. And I mean, it's not a my signature of validation. It's just a signature of accomplishment for me to be able to do that. And I mean, I team roped when I did, and I think that year in '99, I missed the heading finals by about $6,000 or $7,000. And so, and I hadn't headed steers my whole life. I just picked it up and started doing it. Then in 2000, I won another championship. That would have been the sixth,
Mhm.
I believe. And then I won it again in '02, and '05 was the eighth. And so, man, I never dreamed that I would have the success that I've had over the years. But the one thing that I try to tell people today is, like, I was always over prepared. I was never under prepared. So that way, I was never expected in my heart and in my mind to fail. I always could overcome whatever the situation was because I'd practiced it, I'd honed my craft. And to be real honest with you, in the sport of rodeo, I've heard people say it here lately, but it's the way I was my whole career. In order to be great in this business, you got to be a little bit selfish,
Hmm.
and you have to be a little bit envious.
I think that applies in a lot of stuff.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I really think it does. And talking to a lot of guys, we just had Peyton on here before you, and I mean, them guys that back in there and have that intensity level that you did. I mean, it's wild. I kind of want to ask you a little question. We touched on it a little bit, but some of your rivalries over the years, because to me those were some of the greatest that have ever happened at the NFR. With Cody and some other guys.
hmm Well, it started with Joe Beaver,
Right.
in '91, because he was actually the man. But a lot of people don't know this. I lived with Joe in 1988 for about 6 months. And so I'd roped around him and had my permit, just couldn't afford to really go. And so I moved up there away from training horses from a guy down at Conroe. And I stayed there about 6 months. And, some things transpired that I didn't really like or didn't want to be involved with anymore. And so I moved away. But the
Moved
year,
away from Conroe
no,
or
I moved away from Joe's
from Joe?
place.
Okay.
And so the next year we met up at a match roping, and we'd been matching all along, and I'd been wearing his ass out too. And he'll never admit it, but I was.
No, he probably never admit that.
So we showed up at a match roping as a 16-man match in Austin, Texas, and I'd borrowed a horse and didn't really have the money to go. And it come right down to me and him the last match, and I stuck it on him pretty good.
Yeah.
And so that was the birth of Fred Whitfield, honestly. The thing that happened, though, after that match, everybody started calling me the Giant Killer because he was the
Well,
man
yeah.
at the time.
Slayed him.
And I
Slayed
said,
him.
call me what you want. I just want to rope. I want to rope. I want to be good, and I want to beat the best guys in the world.
And to be the champ, you got to beat the champ.
You're damn right.
Everybody will tell you that.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. And so then you slayed that giant. Then you move on, and you got a kid that shows up named Cody Ole.
Yes, sir. And
And
I mean that was
the most electric that building can be is, or as far as I'm concerned, and I'm just one guy, but as far as I'm concerned, when it was between you and Cody, that building could not get more electric.
I'm going to tell you guys something. And a good friend of mine at home, when Cody first started coming around me, Stephen Perry, he said, "Don't mess with that guy." And I said, "Why?" He said, "He's the greatest threat to you." And I brought Cody in, and we practiced together and rodeoed and stuff together. And I was straight to the point. I said, "Cody Ole don't scare me. I promise you."
I don't think
I'm-
many calf ropers would scare you, huh?
I said, "I'm just not afraid. And I brought him in, and we rodeoed together, and some things happened. We had breakups and blow ups and all that good shit that happens. And Cody's probably the greatest rival. Like I said, I had to go through Joe Beaver to get, that the one accolade that I was really after in the sport, and that was to win the world. And then I think Joe won it again in '92
Mm-hmm.
and '93.
The thing they talk about every night, that's the house that Joe Beaver built, but Fred Whitfield remodeled it.
Yeah, and it's getting remodeled right now by a lot of different guys.
Right. What do you see in these guys? I mean, we'll jump back to the Cody Ole thing because I ain't gonna let that pass. I want some more stories out of that. But what do you think about these guys roping right
Well-
now? The size of calves, the calves that they're roping, things like that, the horsepower and
There's generations. Okay.
yes, sir.
My generation, I believe, in my heart of hearts, is the best that calf roping will ever be. That's my belief. I'm entitled to that because I've done it at a high level for so long. Okay. Today's calf ropers, the berries are shorter, calves are smaller. The guys are more athletic. I'll give them that. There's no doubt about it. But when you turn around and you put all the onus on the calves being trained, we never had trained calves out here. Okay. You see what those guys are doing. Those calves have had 4, 5, 6 runs on them. They got a little size to them. The medium pin, big pin, little pin, small. But I mean, hell, there's no barrier. They're supposed to be tying them as fast as they are.
Right.
I mean, it's no mystery. When the calf goes, you go. He's 2 swings out in front of you. Put your rope on him. Go down there and tie him down. That's what I see. So, as far as the competition nowadays, a lot of people are going to cuss me for this, but Shad Mayfield's he's top tier. Okay, he's never had a good finals. I know. He called me in August and he said, "Hey man, I need your help." And I said, "Shad, listen to me." I said, "This is the way it's going to go." I said, "I tried to help you your rookie year, and everybody thought that I needed something." I said, "I'm validated. Okay, I've got 8 reasons why I don't need anything from you. Just
for
respect."
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so let's try it the way I did it. And if it don't work, I'll tell you it don't work. And so we had a little hell out here in the 3rd round. Ever since then, he's been flawless. Tied one in 6-1 last night.
Yeah. And we talked about that on the earlier podcast. If that crowd wouldn't have went crazy, it just maybe been a little quieter. He probably could have
But
snuck
have
that.
you ever seen a man smile when a
No.
calf got up for 30 grand?
No.
You, you know why that is? He believes now
He can
that
do
he
it again.
belongs here.
He can do it again.
Well,
Sure.
I was telling
Yeah,
I
that's
was
real
telling
talk right
Brandon.
there. That's real.
Yeah, I was telling the other Brandon. I said, "Man, I think the most dangerous calf roper in the deal is Shad Whitfield." And he said, "Well, didn't he miss a couple?" I said, "That's what makes him dangerous."
Shad Mayfield, not Shad.
Shad Mayfield, Whitfield, whatever it is. Good thing we got that editing crew. No,
Hey,
yeah,
and I also told
Money
him,
Mayfield. I call him that.
yeah, I also told him, I said, "Listen to me, man. Listen, okay. this was the best thing about my entire career, okay? I never looked down, okay? I always held my chin up no matter what was going on. And when people look at you, you either look at them or you look through them, okay? You never, this is the one island in the world that you don't want to be on out here by yourself. Because when
Dollars
shit
worth of
starts
game.
going bad, they mash on you out here. Nobody will tell you that, but I lived it, so I know. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I didn't always have good NFRs. I've had a couple of bad ones,
Mm-hmm.
but it was my own fault. I roped out here hurt one year. I never whined, never complained. Won
What was wrong
19,000.
when you were hurt?
I tore my labrum, rotator cuff, and I let Clint Robinson ride my horse. He won. He'd never won a check. He won the 6th round, split the 7th round, won the 8th round, split the 9th round, and was gonna win the 10th round, but he got a little cocky and wasn't listening, and so he jerked one down, didn't get her up. So he ended up paying me 15,000 in mount money. I left here with 33,000, and they told me not to rope.
There you go.
Huh?
Let's talk about that a little bit because I seen in the last couple of rounds, Pecos has been making his way around. There's like 2 or 3 different guys riding that horse.
Logan Bird.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Logan Bird.
And explain that kind of to the listeners how that mount money deal works. I mean, you see the same horse going. I see it a lot in like the bulldogging.
Yeah.
You see that a lot.
So on a deal like that, like I've made deals out here before, and if I make a deal with a guy, then I give him some guaranteed money, whether it's 5,000, 10,000, but then he can't let anybody else ride the horse until I tell him that I'm not on him. Those were the kind of deals that I made. And then you can go, the percentage of what you pay him is a little less because he's got guaranteed money.
Mhm.
And I mean, it would be a lot higher today, I'm assuming, because of what the guys have a chance to win. But a customary, it's 25%
Okay.
of what they win.
And what's a horse like that Pecos horse? I mean, if they put a
Oh,
price tag on him,
shit.
what would that horse cost?
I heard he turned down 300. Is he worth it?
I was just gonna say.
I mean, it just depends. It just depends. I mean, if I'm Shad Mayfield and I see a good horse today, it doesn't matter what they cost.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I was the same way. Hell, I give 90 or 75,000 for one, 85,000 for one in 1999, but I'd won close to 300 riding him.
And people probably thought you were crazy.
Well, and I told the lady that owned the horse, I said, I know there's other people interested, but tell them to get the loan approved because I'm going to own him. And I was sure of that. I didn't have the money, but I knew I was going to get it.
A good one always pays himself off.
Damn right.
I don't think you could buy Mario from Kincaid.
I guarantee you could.
I don't think you could buy that
From Kincaid Henry,
Yeah.
Jerome.
that roan.
That
Yeah.
horse come from Stetson, right?
Yeah,
Stetson trained that
He
horse.
come from Stetson, but
Tanner.
the boy from Tanner Green had him.
Oh yeah.
That's where he got him from.
He came on. He was roping at Prescott, and we were podcasting up there, and he came on and told us all about it. And then we've been kind of watching him, keeping a little eye on it.
Yeah. He's pretty nice, and that kid ropes good. But my honest opinion, Haven Medjid, Shad Mayfield, Riley Webb, for the next 15 years, that's the calf roping battle to me. And not to take nothing away from any of the other guys, I know they get their little panties in a wad when you tell them the truth. But hey, the one thing that you can't be out here, pard, is scared.
Oh yeah, no.
You hear
better
me?
go after him.
And I mean, you damn right, you got to back in there and reach between your legs and see what you're made of and get after it because there's just too much money at stake to play it safe. And you rope along and you don't win very much, and then something happens.
Yeah,
Then
safe
it's
ain't
next
never
year.
got nobody nowhere, man.
It's next year, and none of us are guaranteed.
Obviously, you were coming on. I'm doing lots of research and looking at stuff, and I watched an old video that they did on you, kind of like a forget what the PRCA called it, but almost like a ESPN 30 for 30 thing. And you were at your house. You had just got a house, and it had a pool in the backyard, and you were talking about arena lights.
Yeah.
And you said you had to promise your wife that you weren't going to put arena lights up.
No arena lights. And you know what's crazy? I've never had an arena with arena lights. Never.
Well, that
I mean, when
that
I
says
roped
a lot to your dedication. I think.
Well, when I roped with Roy and Moffat, he had arena lights when I lived over in Cypress. And so, I mean, it was a bonus. But at my place in Hockley, where we lived for 25 years, I wouldn't put up lights. Because if I went to a rodeo and something went wrong, I was going home and roping. And now where we live now, we live in it's not really a gated community, but it's off the beaten path. And so my arena's 11 miles down the road where I rope.
From your house?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
It is now. And so I mean, I've let the roping part, the competitive side go. I mean, I've got some mares that I ride, and I've got oh 5, 6, maybe 7 schools lined up for 24, and I think I've done 6 this year. And so I've got several kids that I'm helping, uh, along the way inside the sport. But as far as the competitive side goes, that's I'm done with that. I've gotten too old to try to compete with these kids. I still love the sport of rodeo, and I always will because I made a living
Hmm.
and did it for such a high level at a long period of time.
Yeah. Do you see the kids coming up now? Like if you look at these UFC fighters now, like they're trained from jump to be an MMA guy. It's not like when they started they were a boxer and then they learned some karate and they learned how to fight in the UFC. These younger guys are being trained as calf ropers or as team ropers. I mean, that's their discipline.
Well, I
Do you
mean,
see that?
I started at a young age, but I mean, it was unconstructive. When I say that, I mean, I was just playing around with it until I got to where I was showing signs of, having the ability to do it. And then people made a way for me to actually get into it, get involved, and hone my craft. And so I think you can burn a kid out now if you start them too early. And I think they have to want it. And what I mean by that, in order to be great, you have to live, breathe, and eat this shit. And the competition is just so good now because everybody starts so early.
Mhm.
Okay. I've got a girl right now that I'm helping that's 15 years old, and she ropes with the pros, all the girls that made the NFR, and hell, I bet she's won 200,000 this year, broken breakaway, and she's 15 years old. Can you imagine how good she's going to be when she turns 18 and gets her card?
Straight businesswoman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of clinics too, and I see that a bunch. And do you get a lot of pride knowing that you're kind of helping the next
Oh
generation
no,
go?
no doubt,
And like
no
Benny,
doubt.
you've helped Benny out a lot. I've
Yes,
noticed the
sir.
last couple of years, he's kind of told me he's been going over there with you and helping, getting help from you. Like, explain that a little bit. And
Well, the thing is, the old saying, iron sharpens iron. But what people don't realize is you've got to have the mind for this. Okay. It's not just the ability. If you don't have it in your mind, on your mind, 24 hours a day, you got to be. I heard a friend of mine say the other day, you've almost got to be about half psychotic. It's
I
no,
get
no,
called
no,
that a
no
lot.
I would agree.
bullshit.
I've been
No, no
called that in
bullshit.
my household.
I
Psycho
I don't think
Americans.
you're wrong.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
and I mean and that's at a lot of sports that somebody wants to be good at. I mean, you drive by the football field and you see kids when in Arizona it's 120 degrees. You know the kid that's going to be good because you drive by the high school football field and he's still out there running sprints.
you
Everybody
damn
else is
right. That
gone.
that's what it takes, man. And as a kid growing up over there in Cyprus, I would tie 40, 50 calves a day. And I'm not talking about every other day. I done that shit every day. And I said, you know what? I come from a broken home. I come from all this shit that wasn't supposed to succeed. And I mean, I made it out. I made it out, and I seen the light at the end of the tunnel through the sport of calf roping. And I mean, there was no other way for me. I played football for a little while, bounced to basketball. I didn't like that shit. I wanted to be a calf roper, man.
Yeah. So you touched a little bit on it. You're working with a breakaway girl that's 15, so she can go pro here in a couple years. But is breakaway ever going to make it in the NFR?
That's not for me to decide.
No, it's not. But I mean, your opinion on it.
My opinion, I think their approach is not the right approach, honestly.
Hmm.
You don't force your way in out here. And I mean, we found that out the hard way. That's all I'm saying. Uh, everybody deserves to be somewhere nowadays,
Hmm.
we think or we believe.
Right.
Okay. So you work your way up the channels. What I would do if I were them,
Mhm.
my opinion, I would make the breakaway so good at Michael Gong's house to where they want it
They
at
want it.
UNLV's
Yeah,
house.
it's true. That's
No,
a
All right,
that
that's
makes
that's
sense.
an
that's
approach.
100%
Y'all better
right
take
there.
notes. You better take
I
notes.
want to write one. Might want to write that part down. Yeah, because I mean, the breakaway is exciting to watch.
Well, it is. I mean, it really
I mean,
honestly
it's
is,
fun. It's
and there's
fast.
there's some of them girls that can damn sure rope, and I mean, it's helped the industry.
Hmm.
I would be a idiot not to sit up here and say that it's definitely helped, but the team ropers roped out here for damn near 60 years before they got equal money, and it took us standing up in a meeting and about walking out to get it done. Okay, but the powers that be out here are not going to let you force your way into shit.
because they're just gonna lock up and
Shit, lay down.
yeah,
They're not gonna lock
yeah.
up. They're gonna say, hey, behind closed doors, they're gonna say, fuck them.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and you most.
True statement right there.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you would know. Yeah.
yeah. I'm dead serious. And I mean, Matt Tyler's the reason why, you know this better than I do, the reason why they got equal money out here in the team roping. And we stood up in a meeting one day, and I mean, it's the day before the final starts. And he said, boys, there ain't going to be no rodeo tomorrow. We got them. You know, they panicked.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, overnight, they come up with the money.
Yeah.
And the show went on.
They had it the
But
whole time.
if you're on the outside, if you're on the outside looking in, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
But once you're in,
those guys were in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've talked about that a lot, and I mean, obviously, I'm in a different place than all you guys because I don't carry no PRCA card, so I can say whatever I want about it. But and I love watching rodeo. I love the whole thing about it. But it is pretty wild to me that you guys. I guess I compare it to like a bar, right? A bar hires a band.
Right.
The band sells tickets. The
Right.
bar makes money. Everybody makes money, right? But the band gets paid to be there.
Yes.
Well, I kind of look at you guys like the band, right? And
Oh,
you
yeah.
and you're coming in.
We've been dancing like a mother for too long and
That's
not
what I'm
getting paid
saying,
for
you
it,
know what I
bro.
mean?
Fred,
Yeah.
I've explained to these guys about
Yeah.
how they used to give you 10,000 and then they used to take that out of your check.
I could not believe that. Like that was.
And
See,
I made
and-
him explain it 5 fucking times. 'cause I couldn't believe-
And those are the details that get overlooked, right? And once you've been in the system, okay. I heard a guy say the other day. He said the company man loves the company till he realized the company don't love him
Love
no
him.
more.
I'm
Huh?
telling you.
Yeah.
Am I
it
wrong?
took to Luke
Hey.
Aquino finally standing up and saying, "Hey, man, like we need to help these guys out."
I
This
got a
ain't right."
favorite saying of late.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I'm talking to people, I say, when I tell a lie, you stop me from talking. I haven't been stopped yet.
There you go.
I'm being straight up, man.
Yeah, I mean,
And the thing that we don't do, we don't talk about some of the issues that need to be brought to the forefront. Okay.
do you think they'll ever let somebody like Fred Whitfield in a position where those can be brought to the forefront?
I don't want that position, and I'll tell you why. There's one reason.
Okay.
I'm a straight up guy. They've asked me to be the calf roping director, and I had a certain stock contractor come to me and tell me, you just take the job. I'll take care of it. And I said, sir, I don't bend in the middle. You're not going to poke me on this side and me go over here, poke me on the right and me go left. I said, because if I tell my guys I'm going to get something done, I'm doing it. Whether I got to go through you or around you or right over the top of you, it's getting done.
Mhm.
And so I did. And so do I want to be involved at that capacity? No, sir, I do not. It's
You-
just too big of a battle.
Yeah. And it seems like such a, if you take all the characters out of it, it's just a huge corporation with a big wheel that goes around and around and around. And somebody at the top's making a lot of money.
In my opinion, okay, this is Fred Whitfield's opinion. Is this 100% accurate? Who knows?
It's your opinion.
The thing of it is, if we had a bigger building and sold 30,000 tickets instead of 19, all the fighting's done.
That's true.
The money's there. And I mean, that's just little old high school educated Whitfield. I mean, it don't take a genius to figure that out.
Right, right.
And we need to start looking at those avenues, and also sponsor dollars. Where they all going?
Mm-hmm.
Let's lay it out all on the table.
Right.
Let's go through it and see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what I did. I mean, I own some businesses back at home, and I mean, that's all I do every day is run numbers. And when I start getting these numbers from Cesar, I'm sitting here at lunch, and I'm about 10 minutes later, I look back at him, I go, that don't make no sense, man.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my
Yeah,
mouth. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
Somebody's making money.
But
Ain't us.
something's making sense somewhere around here. We just ain't got to the right hole.
And what so let's think about the cause of that, right? Is that because there's a Peyton Bray coming up to be the next Caesar, and if Caesar doesn't want to play ball the way the game's played, then somebody else will. I'm not just calling out Peyton,
No,
but
they've said that.
you know what I'm saying.
They
If
can
you
go
guys
with-
don't want to play ball, then they're gonna find somebody who wants to play ball.
Well, that's the way the system's set up.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hell, us as Cowboys, we'll get a good horse and we'll ride that son of a bitch till he can't go no farther, and then we throw him out, kick him out in the pasture, and we're looking for another one.
Right.
I
Just
mean,
The way the game's played.
listen, the way the game's played, the system's rigged against you. If you know that going in, get all you can get, Hit the trail.
What do they
Huh?
say? If your last shirt has pockets, take all you can take.
I mean, that was my approach, and it's sad to say that, but I'm an honest person. Okay,
I appreciate that.
listen. I didn't have. I had a retirement account, but that was from endorsements and all that shit.
Mhm.
So when I walked away from the sport, I mean, I had a little nest egg, had a place that was paid for, didn't
With
know
a pool.
nobody shit. Didn't know I bought that place with the money that I sold the other place with.
Okay.
But the thing of it is, I didn't necessarily have to have it. But there was decisions to be made in 13 and 14. Wore out ass truck, horse is not very good,
Mhm.
40 plus years old. You want to spend 200,000 to keep chasing? It's like a cat chasing a ball of yarn.
Yeah,
Sooner or later, a cat gets tired.
that's for sure.
You know, when you figure out how the system works, and I mean, that, hey, I've made a great living rodeo. I would not deny that one bit. And but the fact of the matter was, I was fixing to spend 200,000, and I had a guaranteed chance of winning
Settle.
that much.
All right. On that, we're gonna take us a little break, and we'll be back. Hey, welcome back to Tolleson-Mack podcast. We got Fred Whitfield here. We got some nice MGM waters rolling. We got Benny. We got Cesar. Cesar, let's talk about roping with Fred, huh? You
Man,
guys kind of let me go on a rant.
when I was a teenager, man, I rodeo is what I decided I was gonna do. And this Fred, I'd seen him at Tucson. He started heading more, and damn it if he didn't win the all around title that year. It was
Heading at Tucson.
he's no, I mean the all around title, but I didn't know that he headed before.
Oh,
So
okay.
this guy was I looked up to him, man. This guy's one of the greatest, you know. And I go, and now he's heading. This guy's really my hero now. And then later on that year, he ended up winning the all around title. Team rope and helped him out. So like I've been following him around, and every time I'd see him, hey Fred, what's up, man? And he always said what's up back, and I'm like, man, this guy's my hero. And like, and then you get around some of these guys, you spend like they're like a family after a while. They see you around, you make a hand, they'll like
Iron sharpens
yeah,
iron, right? You
yeah,
said that earlier.
Yeah.
and I feel like, man, like we can go through that. But another secret, another reason I wanted you to be on this podcast, I want to talk about a horse that was one that I really looked up to. Was like that Moon. How cool is that horse?
Yeah, and man, I stumbled across that horse. My vet had him down there in Texas, and this is a crazy story. You know who rode that horse before I got him? Uh, Paul Tierney had him.
Really?
Yes, sir. And John Rothwell actually trained that horse. John Rothwell and an older gentleman from Denton up there, Jack Newton. That's who started that horse. They cut on him, and they actually won the AQHA World in 1990. So, and then me and him come together. I believe it was about the end of '93. I rode that horse at a match open down there, the 16-man match at Fort Worth, Texas, and uh, hell, I think they wanted 25,000 for him, and they said just take him home and ride him for a little bit, and if you get along with him, just pay us. And so I rode him a couple of days, and I thought, son of a bitch, this is a nice horse. I need to dig up 25,000 at the time.
Real quick. And when was that?
And buy it was 92.
That's a lot of money.
You damn right. And I mean, I bought him, and the first couple of years we didn't really click, and then about '94 he come alive out here, and hell, I placed in 5 rounds and won about 60,000 riding him, and won Calgary on him a couple of times, and I mean, just a great horse. And I always thought that horse was about half human, and the
Yeah.
reason why I say that, he had a personality like none other, and um, I think he ended up winning third in the Calf Horse of the Year deal one year.
Like you mentioned that you cut on him, so like I noticed that horse would always rate to a spot. He'd run to a spot, and he wouldn't go past
Yes.
that. He was always going to slow
And,
calf, fast calf. It was the
and
same
I'm
spot.
telling you what, that sunbuck was like being tied off to an oak tree when a calf went by him. He used his front end. He'd slide on his ass a little bit, and then when he stuck his front end in the ground, buddy, they were coming to you. And so I tell a lot of kids nowadays, they don't understand that most of them horses today stop and pedal forward, and the calf's going on down the arena. And they say, well, why in the hell wasn't I faster? I said, you're chasing your business, bro. It's not coming to you. I said, it's so much easier when them calves come around and the horse is bringing them. It just shortens up the time.
Yeah, that's
Is that the big difference you see now, like in these horses and horses kind of when you were doing it? Or
Well, I'm probably not the best guy to ask about that
no, I
because
think you are
I,
probably the best guy to ask.
I honestly, there's been some horses work out here at the finals this
Yeah.
week, but overall, the horses that I see in the sport now,
Mm-hmm.
they're not even close to the ones we rode. You know, not a lot of horses just have that run and jam up stop, which the guys nowadays they want to slide. They got them on the left hip. I don't believe in none of that crap. I'm a traditional guy. I'm not. I don't want a horse to duck. I want that son to run in there and drop. And when I go by his head, he needs to be down and back, and it's stop and back out of it. It just makes everything happen so much faster.
I noticed, and again, just average fan watching. I noticed back from like when I was watching you do it to kind of now. It seems like you guys kept the calf standing more. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it's just something I've noticed. Like it just seems like they were standing more when you got to them versus these guys having to pick them up.
In my opinion, this is what I see. Okay, these guys get off so much faster than we did.
Mhm.
You know, it's throw and go now. It ain't hanging the
Well, and
stirrup.
that all goes back to what you were saying about the score and stuff, right?
Right. Well, it's. I like to think it was more finesse
Mhm.
back when I rodeoed in my heyday. You know what I mean? And
Smoother.
done things more deliberate. Okay. Uh, the perfect style today would be Caleb Schmidt. I mean, he's an old school
Oh
roper.
yeah.
And I tell people all the time, I said, hey, you don't need to come to me. The recipe's right there in front of you. But you got to be able to cook it. You know
Min-
what I'm saying?
Many a slip between the cups and the lip.
Huh?
Ah.
Okay. Call it what you want. And I actually complimented that guy the other night. And we're not like great friends. You know, I know him. We speak and talk every once in a while. And I said, what you're doing is nothing short of phenomenal.
Mm.
Because, I mean, he just shows up, takes care of his business. He's not flashy, none
Rolls
of
on
that
out.
shit. But I'm going to tell you what, if they run a good calf in front of him, you can pay him.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it's at, what time of day it is. That guy's legit.
On it. Yeah. I seen one of those guys roping. I can't remember which guy it was, but he doesn't run a jerk line. I think it's on a gray horse.
Hunter Heron?
Was it
Yeah.
Hunter?
Yeah, that's a nice horse, too.
Yeah, he don't run no jerk line. He gets
That's
down there and gets it done.
That's a super nice horse. Hell, that horse come from some cutting horse people, I believe, over around Stephenville, didn't
Yeah.
it?
That's where he come from.
I feel like Haven's horse, the reason he was six last night, and even Chad's horse, they were right on the money on the barrier. It worked just right. They didn't pull the calf too hard. They just held him just enough.
Yeah,
Like
and that's something too. I mean, that Haven's been knocking the barrier out every night, and I'm talking about he missed it one night, and he was kind of mad at himself because he's shaking his head. But last night he was first roper on the barrier, and all you can do is tip your hat to him. But you know what I was saying in the alley back there to my man Shad? We live for these moments,
it's
bro. This
perfect.
is all you. Get
Yeah.
after this son bitch. You know what to do. Do it.
That's what helped you get to the top, right? You had the Joes and the Codys and all them guys kind of keep you at the highest level
Well,
all the
the
time.
the thing of it is, if you're not motivated by success, then I can't help you win. That's just in the nutshell. You have to want to win, and then you have to also have the knowledge to know when to do it, when to lay up, when to not kill yourself. Okay, great calf ropers are never in a bind. No matter what the calf does, they're always one step ahead of what's going on. It's called reading the play.
That's awesome. Benny, you got to spend a lot of time with Fred and practice with him. Tell the listeners like what a daily practice session with Fred is like.
It's serious. It's all work, no play. That's all I can say. Have your shit together when you show up. We ain't got time to be playing around. Let's do it.
Yeah. How many calves do you tie? How many you break away? Do you? I mean, what is a session like that?
Oh, it's you know how we do. Like you're gonna rope the dummy.
Mike,
We're gonna start off roping the dummy. We're gonna start off maybe break a wind. Or then again, it might be a day where you got your ass whipped this week, and then you got to show up, run a calf right now. And we're gonna fix the problem. Simple as that.
Well, and towards the end of my career, I didn't rope as much, but before, I would run. It wasn't nothing for me to run 30, 40 calves a day. And when I worked over there at Bill Buto's, would have been the summer of '86. I'd run 200 calves a day, and most people don't believe that. And hell, we had probably 90 head of horses over there, and I bet I probably rode 60 of them in a day. But me saying that, you would say there ain't no way you can ride 60 in one day. He had people saddling them. He had people loping them.
Yeah.
All I had to do was tie a rope on, get
I've
on.
heard that from a couple people that you'd run 200 a day.
Yeah. No, I would get on, run 3 or 4 calves, whatever it called for,
Yeah.
get off, get on another one.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were out there when the sun come up, and hell, I only went to school my senior year for 3 hours. Then I'd get out and we'd rope the rest of the day, 3 days a week. So I mean, I was there and roped and stuff. And when I got to where I was really starting to get to win, he's like, "You gonna rodeo? What the hell you gonna rodeo? I can't sell these damn horses if you ain't here." Blah 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 blah. So I went off to the NARC finals one year and we blew the engine up in the truck, and I took a horse that he owned and I stayed going for about 2 weeks till we got the truck fixed. When I got home, there's a guy sitting on the fence. He said, "I've been sitting here for a week waiting to try that horse," and it was one of them 2x12s, pretty wide. I said, "I bet your ass is sore. You should have got up and walked around a little." And when we were having dinner that night, and he said, "Don't you ever fucking talk to one of my customers like that ever again." I went upstairs and started packing my shit.
Yeah. See you later.
See you later, buddy. And the rest is history.
Yeah.
But it was time for me to go. I'd been there too long, and I was going to be stuck in horse training mode my whole career. But deep down, I knew I was good enough. I just had to get everything set up to where I could. And I wanted to be in the ocean. I wanted to be where the stingrays are, a great white, a hammerhead.
That's Cesar. Yeah.
A tarpon, just whatever. I mean, I was never satisfied because I won at the amateur level, won at the high school level, won at all those levels, but I was motivated by being the best that I could be, and that's really what got me. And that and passion. You have to be passionate about this deal too. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
So you've been numerous times at NFR. What's kind of maybe a handful of some of your favorite moments? I mean, I'm sure you've got so many we couldn't get through all of
No,
them.
not really. I mean, I would go with the first world championship, and I mean the way it went down because I expected it. Nobody else out here did. And me and Stephen Perry had a game plan that they couldn't get out of. We roped along and placed in a few rounds, and horse wasn't working very good. And T Woman actually helped me with him. We'd go out there to the barns, and we had a little apparatus that we put on him every day, and we'd tie a rope to one of them 3-strand bales, and we'd make that some bitch back up between that alley. And at night, I'd run across there, and I got kicked first couple of rounds, and Stephen Perry called and he said, "Hey," he said, "don't panic." He said, "You'll be a fat rat in a wood in a cheese factory when they start rerunning these some bitches." And it happened too. So on things like that, you just got to go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it in the team roping this week. I don't know them guys very well, but they've been beating the brakes off the rest of them.
Oh yeah.
From Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm talking about roping his ass off.
Oh yeah. Jake Long.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Both of them.
They're on a heater. You know about momentum at this building, right? If
You
you get a
damn
good
right.
start, I mean, even those guys have each had a mistake, but they just go ahead and the next round they go ahead
Well,
and win it.
it snowballs. If you get off to a bad start, just like I said earlier, it's hard to get out of it because this is almost like being on an island, honestly, man, because everybody's all about themselves. We play the camaraderie deal. It's so great. It is, but let's not leave out the competition factor
Call a spade a spade.
and 30,000 a night. Okay, every night I backed in there, I didn't give a damn who was doing what. I was worried about me getting as much money as I could.
Right.
I've got friends, and I mean I pull for them, but you have to be envious. You have to be selfish, and the most of all, you gotta want to fucking win.
Yeah. You gotta be hungry.
Yes, if you back in the box all nonchalant and just come ho going through the motions, you shouldn't win, in my opinion.
Right.
Talked about Derek Begay being pretty mellow. That guy, he's
Yeah.
trying to win like
Yeah.
the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I think as a header, you've had a little bit right there. You got to kind of you control the whole.
He's a
whole
quarterback.
destiny of the
You
team. As a
damn
quarterback,
right.
You're gonna have to call the play, and you're gonna have emotion after the run. But right there in the heat of the moment, you're focused. on
you-
what
Yeah,
you
they-
do.
You're setting him up for his best opportunity to rope 2 feet every time.
Yeah.
Simply put, and the thing of it is now, I'm going to speak on this because I mean I think I can. Back in the day, there was 1 or 2 guys that reached.
Mhm.
There's 15 some bitches over there now can drop 3 coals. That's what's
Right
crazy.
now.
What
That-
about the healers too? There were only a handful of them that were throwing right there in the corner, and now every single you can get a
Yeah.
guy on the side of the road over here to throw in the corner every time.
Yeah.
They're holding back they're holding back not to throw.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then I'm sitting down there in the moat down there where all them guys are, and I'm watching the TV screen, And hell, I'm calling out the times every night, and everybody's looking around, looking at my hands. I said, bro, I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Then bulldogging, same thing, and then the calf rope, and I call out the scores, and they're like, what in the hell? It's 40 years of doing this shit.
What's your take on the instant replay?
I'm not against it. I mean, I think it's damn sure time for it to happen. There's been some calls this week, and I told Shad the other night, I said, buddy, you got away with one right there. But then Riley come back and done the same thing, and they didn't flag him out. So no harm, no foul. But if they'd have got one, then they had to get the other one. There's a bulldogger that got robbed.
Yeah, with the foot, right? Not showing all 4 feet.
Yep.
White
And then
Wagus pack.
the crossfire, was it a crossfire? I mean, if you
9
slow
times
it
says
down,
no.
if you slow it down, yes. Full speed, it's not close. Slow motion, it looks like a crossfire to me. That's
Right.
my opinion.
The way he squared up, he heeled him a little bit to the inside.
Right.
And, that's...
It only looked like that on one position.
Yeah, the flagger, where the flagger's at, I feel like I want to go tell that guy, hey, you need to be at the back end of and have the run come at you. And if, them steers never go that far off the right.
And the thing of it is, too, they need to have a guy sitting on the front row in the stands. And he needs to have his hands on the rail looking. He don't need to be over there looking at the blonde.
You can see
with
everything
out.
right there.
Yes.
They
You know
got
what
a
I mean?
perfect spot.
But I think it kind of gets back to what we talked about earlier, right? It's they're not going to let them push that in there.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, sir. It's got to be their idea.
Yeah, it's got to be
Wow,
their
how much
idea.
does it cost anything?
Oh, I'm sure it costs money, Benny.
Well, I mean, if you set it up like how the PBR is, they got one guy and say, I know you don't want to get involved, but say in the calf rope and they have a guy like Fred Whitfield sitting in a booth and he gives a thumbs up or the thumbs down because I mean,
you got instant replay.
You got instant replay right there, and that's how they do it in the PBR. And if you hit the challenge button and it doesn't go your way, it costs you like $1,500. So the guys are a little less apt to do that. I mean,
right?
Because you wouldn't want instant replay, I don't think, on everything. I mean, the big thing watching it on TV, all of us are, man. It seems like they already had that steer roped and the clock was still running. You don't want that to maybe be able to go to instant replay, or maybe you do.
No, it's got to be a foul in the arena.
Right.
There's no way, because in their biggest complaint out here about doing anything, and even with the breakaway, is the time restraints. That's the number one issue that they talk about. But you can do away with a few things, and you got time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got a little social media argument going on right now because people are saying, well, take the concert out of the beginning and then you got 10 minutes.
Well, we got to have the national anthem and whatnot. Yeah. But I mean,
I don't think that's the right thing to do. It takes the show out of it.
The place where I was going with this is the time constraints. Okay, that's what they're looking at. Okay, we've got say in one night, because they could have had 3 the other night, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 3, and if they take 3 minutes apiece, that's an extra 9 minutes that they're gonna run. But Las Vegas events dictates what goes on out there and how fast this deal gets run, because they want all of us. We work our ass off all year, and I've been a victim this week of that little card tricks they play out
Right,
here.
right.
Okay, yeah. They want us back over there at them hotels gambling.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I paid a lot for this room this morning. we made sure, but I think you nailed it on the head more than I've ever heard anybody call it. I mean, you got to make the breakaway girls have to make them want them to be in it instead of trying to fight it. I mean, I want to see it in there for sure, but I think that's 100% the right way to put it.
Yeah, and you go over there where you're at. I mean, hell, they've all got somebody that's wealthy. Get them to put up some money. Let's stop all the bickering and all the tactics that's going around. Let's just go raise our own money. We'll get the rounds to 20,000 over there,
and then some people start coming out of the seats over to the finals. And then, then
free game. Free game, everybody.
I mean, that would be my approach. I'm not very business savvy, but that seems like a good
Seems
approach
like a
to
good
me.
idea to me, and I don't even need a pencil. So let's talk about what you're doing now.
Oh man, I've been working for about 5 years, and to be honest with you, I mean, I started out bottom of the totem pole. I was riding some horses. I had 7, 8 outside horses, having a few clinics here and there. And this is the part that's gonna sting a little bit. Like I said, I'm gonna sit right here and tell you guys the truth. But uh, I'd been dipping into that retirement account, for the last couple of years, not doing nothing, just kind of sitting around. And I'd sell a horse here, make a little money there, and it just wasn't adding up. So I went to Roy Moffett, the friend of mine that helped me get started a long time ago, and I said, "Man, I need a job." And he said, "Well, hell, what do you want to do?" And I said, I ain't very good at none of that shit, but I'll figure it out."
Yeah.
And long story short, I started driving a truck, and things got a little tight with the company. And he said, "Man, you need to go over into sales." He said, "I'll put you with my best sales rep." And he said, "There ain't no future in driving this damn truck." And I knew all along it wasn't, but I mean, hell, it was guaranteed money, good insurance, had income coming in every week, got 2 weeks off, paid vacation, da 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 da, all the shit that I ain't never had rodeoing. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Once the
That
NFR went away,
contract we talked
yeah,
about.
hey, once the NFR went away every year, that guaranteed 40,
Yeah,
50,000
shit.
in December, shit was starting to get a little
A
tight,
little
right?
tight over
And
there. Yeah.
real. But back to it, I had that place, you know, just under 1 million when we sold it.
Mhm.
So we're pretty decent again, and replenished the old bank accounts. And I just went to work, and I said, "You know what, man? You're gonna have to find something else that you love to do, because rodeoing is done." I mean, I don't want to be competitive. I was going to a few amateur rodeos and doing this bullshit, but I had to settle in and go to work. And I'm not bragging or nothing, but that first probably 6 or 8 months, hell, I went to West Texas and I got XTO, Smith Industries, uh, High Crush. That's three of the biggest fuel companies in
So
the world.
what do you
I'm in,
sell?
I'm in sales. We're
So
just a fuel jobber.
fuel. Okay.
Yes, sir. And we're Exxon Mobil,
Okay.
and I just sell diesel. I
Oh.
go around. Hell, Trevor's buying from me. I've got several cowboys that are buying from me.
Oh yeah. So like
Yeah,
in Arizona
his
we
trucking
use
business.
Synergy.
Yep, Synergy.
Synergy
I know those guys.
comes
Yes,
and
sir.
fuels us, our operation and stuff.
And
So that's
so
what you do. Okay. Cool.
we're. I mean, hell, we're in Georgia West, uh, Midland, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston. Boy, we got 6 locations.
They're all
How
over the
about that?
place.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not really nationwide, but we are. So we'll go everywhere, and our core business allows us to do storm work. That's one of the biggest parts. Like when they have hurricanes, Florida, North
The
Carolina,
Moffat trucks
wherever
come
they are.
rolling in.
Hey, we got a crew. Like we sent 100 people down there, along with trucks and trailers and all that stuff. The last storm that went through, and it just happened to go through the national forest. But we were in Louisiana for about a year and a half, a couple of years ago with all that stuff that happened there. And so uh, his mom started that company in 1956. They sold it a couple of times. Been back in business for about 10 years now, and I mean it's huge. I
Didn't you go
think,
to Florida one time?
yeah, I
Yeah.
went down there and
Yeah, you
worked,
did work
Florida and
down there.
Louisiana.
I remember that.
And then so all the sales reps, whenever we have a storm, you have to put your name in the hat to go out of town. So the sales go away,
Yeah.
and you go to disaster relief.
So you're still waiting on a draw.
Huh?
You're still waiting on a draw.
Done been drawed twice.
Well, I kind of told them, last year when they were gearing up for the storms, that I didn't want to travel anymore, because when I first went to Louisiana, it was Fred or Thomas, one of them deals. Hell, I slept in the front seat of a pickup truck for a couple of days because they didn't have no hotels, no electricity, and I started having nightmares. I thought, shit, I was rodeoing
I was just
again.
gonna say you might as well bring a horse. You're gonna do that.
Fourth
When
of
you-
July. 4th of July.
We need to find a jackpot to go
Yeah.
to. Trees down, no power, no food. But anyway, and I ended up staying over there about 70 days, man. And when I went home, I mean, my paycheck was north of 50.
North are pretty good.
Oh, and I'm telling you what, it's
Give me
just
another hit.
crazy.
Give me another hit.
It's just crazy. And I mean, I've called some of my friends at rodeo, that was kind of on hard times. I said, "Hey, dude, get you a pickup truck, get your ass over here. I'll get you a job.
Mhm.
And all it is, you hook onto a little Thunder Creek and you just go around the generators. Hell, I was fueling 27, 28 generators a day, but I had to stay in Opelousas, which was about an hour and a half from Lake Charles. So I'd get up at 2:30 in the morning, book it down there, fill that son bitch up, and I'd go to filling up generators. Done by 3 o'clock, unhook it, head to the hotel, turn around 2:30 in the morning, get up, come back.
Those are nice trailers. I got one of those.
A Thunder
Thunder
Creek?
Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are nice trailers.
Yeah, you know that my boss pretty much designed that deal.
Really?
Yes, sir.
They're nice.
Yeah,
they
but
pull good down the road.
we had the cubes starting out, transcube,
Mhm.
and just put four axles under, two axles, four
Okay,
wheels. Yeah.
Cool. All right, Fred. Well, we'll let you get out of here, man. I sure appreciate you coming by. I've been a long time fan and appreciate talking to you.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I haven't done a lot of these, but that's about to change. You know, I've got too much knowledge to just
Yeah.
to leave out of this good old world and not leave some of it here.
Shoot us an invite. We'll be on a plane.
Yes, sir.
All right,
for
man.
coming
Thank
on,
you,
Fred.
sir.
Hero, man. Appreciate
Yep,
it.
thank you.